Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills, and we're back to discuss our favorite geriatric Caucasian gentleman in space with episode 2 of season 3 of Star Trek Picard. I'm joined by Mrs. Waspinator over here. I guess rip the band-aid off. As it turns out, the kid with the suspicious British accent is Jean-Luc Picard's not his accent, his son. I mean, because after all, you do, derive your accent from your father and the way that you get your hair from your mother. I don't know, what are your top thoughts?
Really, I enjoyed it. There were a couple times where I felt the pacing was a little weird, but that may just be because I don't know the Raffi character, and so it may have felt weird. Or it could have just been that really should have been watched as a one piece, the two-parter, both episodes, and that the pacing would have made more sense, that she shows up more in it towards the back half. And I also had a problem with her stuff in the first half because I didn't really get what was going on, but the second half sort of explained it. So well, as a whole,
I mean, the fact that you never watched either of the first 2 seasons of this show, aside from like
right, I don't know who she is, but
yeah.
That might not be what I'm experiencing with the pacing. I don't know.
Okay.
But I there's a lot about it that I wished I had just watched it straight through. But I thought it was enjoyable.
Okay. What did you think of Amanda Plummer?
Oh, she was a little over the top.
Well, I mean, I've always quite liked Amanda Plummer when she's been in movies. She was much more like a feature of things in the 90s.
Yeah.
Her father, Christopher Plummer, played Kang, one of the Klingons, the general in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, which I'm not sure if you've ever seen or not. I don't know if you've seen it either, you son of a bitch, but... I mean, overall, it was an all-right episode. There was one moment in it that actually kind of had me fooled for a moment. It was when Raffi is about to be taken down by this Ferengi broker, and then suddenly someone shows up and starts cutting people's heads off, and for a moment I'm like, oh, they brought Elnor back from that first season. Elnor was this Romulan who was raised by Romulan space nuns to be a ninja, and he spent much of the first season just kind of standing around in the background and cutting people's heads off inappropriately. And they largely ditched him for season 2. And so for a moment, I'm like, oh, great, they actually brought him back, and he's saving the day. And then oh, no, that's Worf. So I guess Worf is Section 31, or he's just independently been Raffi's taskmaster, having, her be his agent in the field to try to unravel this conspiracy to steal technology and destroy the Federation from within and all that, good stuff. There's theories running around that this season, the primary villain might be those parasites from season 1.
That would be season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Which I did coincidentally have you watch that episode. Before we watched that, and I was just, as I guess like a retro thing, what were your thoughts on the conspiracy episode?
It's been a long time since I watched a full episode from that era, and I enjoyed that a lot. I'm more acutely aware of how old I am, seeing how young they were. But I love that. I love some of the old-timey music and fight blocking and goofy stuff that it was a direct callback to the original series. That was fun.
Yeah, I will say with the fight blocking, there's moments where it's almost like the original series where you can real obviously tell that the old man fighting Worf is not the same actor when they turn his back and he's suddenly like taller and straighter back and a slimmer profile. Same thing with Riker's stunt double. It was very reminiscent of those old series where Kirk would be fighting with somebody in engineering, and then like you can clearly see that the guy has like stubble and different color hair, and it was a bit better than that, but anyway, though, yeah, it did have a pretty creepy ending, though. Creepy on top of everything else.
Oh my god. That may have been the creepiest, most horrifying thing I've seen on any Star Trek episode. It was, The Thing and Alien, and it was super creepy and gross.
Yeah, when they melt Rennick at the end with their phasers.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I remember being like 8 when that show came out, and I do remember that episode like yeah, that was like up there was amongst the creepier things that I had seen. And by that age, I had already seen John Carpenter's The Thing and A Clockwork Orange. And so that manages to like lodge itself up there, to me, is like a mark of a memorable episode, even if it is a little off-putting. And it would be neat if they would bring some resolution to that dangling plot line, since the writers decided to switch over to the Borg as to be like the big outsider threat for the remainder of TNG. But, you know, I don't know, not having any inside knowledge of what the people who've gotten to see the whole series have to say about it. Who knows if that speculation is true, but I happen to like the theory that that's something they might do it this season. But there wasn't really much in this episode to indicate that as being true or not. So, any final thoughts?
Not really. I enjoyed the character development, the plot development. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
All right, well, I guess that's about all we can really ask for after all these years of bad Star Trek, to at least have a Star Trek that you actually look forward to watching another episode of. So, I guess that's about it. Until next time, you can hit buttons such as the like and subscribe buttons. You can go to various websites like Vintage Future RPG on Amazon.com and Drive-Thru RPG. Should they stay waspinated?
Always stay waspinated.
All right, you heard it. So until next time.
Stay waspinated. What's happening?
I'm doing the after credit scene.
Is Loki still alive?